Welcome to Zanzibar, an island that has long been a crossroads of cultures and commerce. An island shrouded in the scent of cloves, a jewel of the Indian Ocean. Its markets are filled with the rich aroma of spices, drawing traders from far and wide. For centuries, Zanzibar thrived as a trading hub. Merchants from Arabia, Persia, India and beyond converged here, exchanging goods, ideas and cultures. Its sultans, enriched by the spice trade, held sway over a vast coastal empire. They built grand palaces and mosques, leaving a legacy that still stands today. But the winds of change were blowing. The arrival of European explorers and traders marked the beginning of a new era. European powers, hungry for resources and influence, began to carve up Africa. They saw Zanzibar as a strategic gateway to the continent. The British Empire, with its insatiable appetite for expansion, cast a long shadow over Zanzibar. Their ships patrolled the waters, and their influence grew steadily. The relationship between Britain and Zanzibar was complex, a delicate dance of power and diplomacy. Treaties were signed and alliances were forged. On the one hand, Britain had played a role in abolishing the slave trade, a practice deeply entrenched in Zanzibar's economy. This move was seen as a moral victory by many. This intervention was welcomed by some, but resented by others who saw it as an infringement on their sovereignty. The island was divided in its opinions. On the other hand, Britain offered protection and stability, a tempting proposition in a world increasingly dominated by European powers. The presence of British soldiers and officials brought a semblance of order to the island. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more historical content. Now let's get into it. In 1890, a treaty was signed, making Zanzibar a British protectorate. This agreement marked the beginning of a new era, one where the British influence began to seep into the very fabric of Zanzibari society. The treaty was seen as a necessary evil by some, a way to ensure peace and stability in a region fraught with tension. This agreement, however, did not extinguish the embers of Zanzibari pride. The people of Zanzibar held on to their rich cultural heritage and traditions, refusing to let foreign rule erase their identity. Sultan Hamad bin Tuwaini, a ruler amenable to the British, maintained a semblance of autonomy. He walked a fine line, balancing the demands of the British with the expectations of his people, striving to keep the peace while preserving his authority. But his death in 1896 ushered in a period of uncertainty. The power vacuum left by his passing created a sense of unease and anticipation among the Zanzibari people and the British alike. His cousin, Khalid bin Bargash, a man of a different mettle, ascended to the throne. Khalid was determined to assert his authority and reclaim the independence that Zanzibar had lost. Khalid was no puppet ruler. He yearned for the days of Zanzibari independence and viewed the British presence with disdain. His resolve to resist British control was unwavering, and he quickly became a symbol of defiance for his people. The British, accustomed to compliance, were unsettled by Khalid's defiance. They had grown used to having their way, and Khalid's resistance posed a significant challenge to their authority. They preferred a ruler more aligned with their interests, someone who would not question their decisions or challenge their presence. Their choice? Hamoud bin Mohammed, a man they believed would be more pliable. Hamoud was seen as a safer bet, someone who would cooperate with the British and ensure their continued influence over Zanzibar. The stage was set for a confrontation, a clash of empires. The tension between the desire for independence and the reality of colonial rule was palpable. A battle for the soul of Zanzibar. The outcome of this struggle would shape the future of the island and its people for generations to come. The spark that ignited the conflict came on August 25, 1896. It was a day that would forever alter the course of history in Zanzibar. Sultan Hamad bin Tuwaini died suddenly, leaving a power vacuum. Seizing the opportunity, Khalid bin Bargash took control of the palace, refusing to acknowledge British authority, which had been a dominant force in the region. This bold act of defiance was met with swift condemnation from the British consul in Zanzibar, Basil Cave. Cave, a man known for his stern demeanor and unwavering loyalty to the British crown, knew immediate action was required. He dispatched a strongly worded telegram to London, seeking guidance on how to proceed. The message was clear. A swift and decisive response was necessary to maintain British dominance. The response from London was unequivocal. Khalid's actions were deemed unacceptable and a direct challenge to British authority. He was to stand down immediately. There would be no negotiation, no compromise. Cave wasted no time. He presented Khalid with an ultimatum, a final demand that left no room for misinterpretation. Relinquish your claim to the throne or face the dire consequences of defying the British Empire. The deadline was set, 9 a.m., August 27, 1896. The clock was ticking and the tension was palpable. The message was unmistakable. Defy us and face the full might of the British Empire's military power. Khalid, surrounded by his loyal advisors, faced a stark and daunting choice: submission or war. After much deliberation, he chose the latter, setting the stage for a historic confrontation. At precisely 9 o'clock in the morning, as the morning sun cast long shadows across the harbour, the British warships anchored in the distance roared to life. Their guns, trained on the Sultan's palace, unleashed a deafening barrage. The Anglo-Zanzibar War had begun. The element of surprise was absolute. The Zanzibari defenders, caught off guard, scrambled to their positions. Their antiquated cannons, no match for the British firepower, returned fire with more courage than accuracy. On the shore, chaos reigned. Civilians caught in the crossfire fled in terror. The air grew thick with smoke and the acrid smell of gunpowder, but the outcome was never in doubt. The British naval superiority was overwhelming. Their shells rained down on the palace, setting it ablaze. One by one, the Zanzibari defences crumbled. Their flag, a symbol of defiance, was shot down. Their artillery silenced, their spirit broken. Within minutes, the palace, once a symbol of Zanzibari pride, was reduced to a smouldering ruin. Khalid, realizing the futility of resistance, fled for his life, seeking refuge in the German consulate. The British casualties: a solitary sailor, slightly wounded. The Zanzibari losses were far greater. Over 500 soldiers and civilians lay dead or wounded, victims of the Empire's swift and brutal retribution. At 9:38 in the morning, a mere 38 minutes after it began, the order was given: cease fire. The Anglo-Zanzibar War, the shortest war in recorded history, was over. The aftermath of the war was swift and decisive. Hamoud bin Mohammed, the British-backed candidate, was installed as the new Sultan. Zanzibar became, in all but name, a British colony. The short, sharp conflict sent shockwaves through East Africa. It served as a stark reminder of the disparity in power between the European empires and the kingdoms they sought to subdue. The Anglo-Zanzibar War, despite its brevity, left an indelible mark on the island's psyche. It extinguished any lingering hopes of independence, ushering in an era of British dominance that would last for decades. The scars of that fateful day, both physical and psychological, would take generations to heal. Today, the Anglo-Zanzibar War is often relegated to a footnote in history books, a curious anecdote about a conflict that lasted less than an hour. But it serves as a reminder of a pivotal moment in African history, a time when the continent was being reshaped by forces beyond its control and influence. It is a story of ambition and resistance, of power and its far-reaching consequences. And so we leave Zanzibar, the Spice Island, forever marked by its brief but bloody encounter with the British Empire, a place where the scent of cloves mingles with the ghosts of a forgotten war, lingering in the air. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more historical videos like these, don't forget to like and subscribe.